The Galactic Council had conquered empires, silenced rebellions, and erased civilizations older than their own. But in all their long and arrogant history, they had never made a mistake as catastrophic as the one they made on that cold, distant night. When their enforcement bureau obliterated the human colony Helix 5, the Council expected outcry, protests, diplomacy. The usual human noise. Instead, the universe heard something far more terrifying. Nothing. Not a word. Not a broadcast. Not a negotiation request. Humanity simply went silent. And then, every star system in the galaxy received a single transmission. We do not start wars. But we finish them. That was the moment the galaxy finally understood. They had pushed humanity too far, and now extinction was a possibility. The Helix 5 colony was never meant to be a battlefield. It was a place of quiet research, a cluster of domed laboratories suspended above a silver plain of alien grass that glowed softly in the twilight. Children rode hoverboards between habitat rings. Scientists charted nebula winds. Farmers tended engineered crops under artificial suns. It was peaceful. It was harmless. And it was undefended. The Galactic Enforcement Bureau knew that. Their ships arrived just after dawn, 30 obsidian black cruisers slipping out of hyperspace like predators rising from deep water. No warning. No diplomatic hail. No legal justification. Just silence. Then the bombardment began. Screaming plasma tore across the colony. Domes shattered. Buildings vaporized. Communications towers melted into slag. Thousands died before they even understood what was happening. The air filled with smoke, static, and the last terrified messages of civilians caught in the open. "Mom, where are you? Medical bay collapsing. We need. The sky of God, the sky is burning." And then nothing. In less than 4 minutes, Helix 5 was gone. The official GEB report, filed an hour later, called it an unauthorized human expansion zone requiring neutralization. A simple bureaucratic phrase. 10,000 lives erased with a sentence. The Galactic Council skimmed the report with mild annoyance. Humans, they thought, were always overreaching. Always pushing boundaries. Always expanding too fast. "This will teach them restraint," one counselor muttered. "This will remind them of their place," said another. They expected outrage, naturally. Human ambassadors shouting about justice and treaties. Perhaps some protests. Maybe a few symbolic sanctions or angry speeches at the diplomatic chambers. Humans were emotional, noisy creatures. Predictable. But when the Council sent its usual regretful but firm communique to Earth, there was no response. No ambassador. No demand for explanation. No furious press conference. Nothing. The human embassy on the Council homeworld was found locked. Lights off. Desks cleared. Terminals wiped clean. "Where are the humans?" a confused attendant asked. No one knew. Across the galaxy, every human diplomat, every representative, every cultural liaison disappeared from public life in the same quiet, unsettling way. No protests. No speeches. No calls for justice. Just silence. A silence the galaxy had never heard from humans before. Deep beneath the surface of Earth, inside a facility that did not exist on any map or database, a single red light flickered on for the first time in a century. Admirals, generals, scientists, and leaders from every nation stood together around an obsidian console marked only with 2 words. Project Hydra 5. Restricted, level Omega. A technician hesitated. "Are we really doing this?" The High Commander of Earth leaned forward, voice hard as forged steel. "They exterminated 10,000 of our people." He pressed his thumb to the activation pad. "And they think we'll respond with diplomacy." The console lit up, brilliant, scarlet, and alive. Across Earth's orbit, dormant satellites reactivated. Stealth fleets hidden in dark space storage awakened. Old protocols humanity hoped never to use, came online. A deep, metallic voice filled the chamber. Revenge protocol initiated. Earth's leaders exchanged no words. They didn't have to. The galaxy believed humans would rage, cry, beg for answers. Instead, humanity prepared. Quietly. Efficiently. Completely. Somewhere far above Earth, among the stars that had once been symbols of wonder, a human admiral whispered the words that would soon echo across every known system. We're done being underestimated. And from that moment on, the universe began to change. Because humanity wasn't angry. Humanity was focused. And that was far, far worse. For the first time in generations, every nation on Earth stood under a single banner. There were no arguments. No political speeches. No votes. Only a shared understanding burned into the soul of an entire species. Helix 5 must be avenged. Not for revenge alone, but for justice. Across Earth's megacities, embassy buildings sealed their doors. Flags were lowered. The great halls of the United Interstellar Diplomatic Union went dark, quiet symbols of a humanity that had stopped talking. The galaxy continued to wait for the usual human reactions. Outrage. Protests. Emotional broadcasts. What they didn't understand was simple. Humanity wasn't grieving anymore. Humanity was preparing. Deep beneath the Andes, in a command bunker built into the bones of a mountain, the war room hummed with energy. Dozens of holographic screens lit the chamber, each displaying a different star system, a different fleet position, a different classified protocol. Generals from former rival nations stood shoulder to shoulder. Scientists who once competed for grants were now unified by fury. Even old enemies stood united, because Helix 5 wasn't a political matter. It was an attack on the human race. A young officer stepped forward. Admirals, all global defensive treaties have been synchronized. Nations have unanimously agreed to the Omega Accords. And the fleets? Asked Admiral Sarai Vance. The officer swallowed. All 5 are ready. A hush fell. Many of those standing had heard rumors, whispers, or ghost stories about the secretive human fleets. Almost none had ever seen them. Until now. The war room lights dimmed. A soft hum vibrated through the floor. Then, 5 symbols appeared in front of the assembled leaders, each one representing a nightmare the galaxy had dismissed as myth. Ships built with adaptive light warp plating, literally invisible to sensors, and nearly invisible to the naked eye. Designed not to be seen until it was already too late. Autonomous drone swarms and AI-controlled destroyers. Rumored to be capable of independent strategy. Feared even by the admirals who commanded them. Massive mobile fortresses, each one carrying thousands of fighters, labs, mid-bays, and drop units. Floating cities of war. Planetary interdiction stations. Designed not to destroy worlds, but to end military capability in a single strike. Humanity's most elite soldiers. Dropped from orbit. Trained for environments most species considered uninhabitable. Feared across simulations the galaxy didn't know humans had access to. The holograms faded. No one in the war room spoke. Finally, Admiral Vance said it. Activate all fleets. Technicians typed furiously. Codes were entered. Satellites linked. Relays locked on. Then, one by one, lights on the activation panel turned green. Phantom Fleet, online. Black Sun Division, online. Leviathan Carriers, online. Omega 5 platforms, online. Silent Storm Marines, deployed. A single command echoed through the bunker. Execute Directive, Hydra 5. Across the solar system, humanity's hidden strength rose from the shadows like a swarm of steel ghosts. The galaxy didn't know yet. Not until a lone, unmarked transmission swept across every FTL network, bouncing off relay stations, satellites, and orbital arrays. A message from Earth. Only 11 words long. No emotion. No threats. No commentary. Just the promise of certainty. We are done talking. Justice will be delivered. No one in the galaxy slept well that night. On the Galactic Council homeworld, diplomats exchanged panicked theories. What do humans want? Are they planning conquest? Will they retaliate against civilians? But those who truly understood humanity, historians, soldiers, scholars, shook their heads. Humans don't respond like other species, one elderly researcher whispered. They won't lash out blindly. They won't target innocents. They won't bomb worlds. He paused, trembling. They will find the ones responsible, and they will erase them. The chamber fell silent. Because everyone in the room understood the truth. There was no force in the galaxy more dangerous than a unified humanity. Earth's fleets vanished into hyperspace, leaving no trace. Phantom Fleet was already beyond the edge of mapped space. Black Sun's AI nodes had begun calculating every GEB movement. Leviathan carriers floated like steel giants, waiting for coordinates. Silent Storm Marines trained in complete silence. Omega-5 platforms powered up, ready to fire but hoping not to. Humanity had not declared war. But the galaxy felt the gravity of the moment. Humanity had declared intention. And intention, from humans, had always shaped worlds. Far above Earth, in the dim cockpit of a stealth cruiser, Admiral Vance stared out at the stars. Helix 5, she whispered. We haven't forgotten. Her fist tightened. And we do not forgive. The engines ignited. The hunt had begun. The Galactic Council had existed for over 6,000 years. In that time, they had faced rebellions, invasions, plagues, and extinctions. But never, never had an entire sector of space fallen so silent. No broadcasts. No commercial chatter. No diplomatic requests. No human communication of any kind. The silence from Earth was not the absence of noise. It was the presence of something far more terrifying. It was purpose. In the central archives of Orion Prime, a historian named Dr. Ralvatz paced before a council emergency session, shaking. For cycles, we have misunderstood humanity, he said, mandibles trembling. We assumed they were irrational. Loud. Emotional. A counselor scoffed. They are emotional. The historian turned sharply. No. They are motivated. And that motivation, when focused, is catastrophic. He activated a holoscreen. Images flickered across the chamber. The human city of Carthage rebuilt from ash after total destruction. Nations obliterated, yet their people rising again, fiercer. Entire continents scarred by war, but humanity rebuilding them in decades. A planet where every culture told stories of revenge, justice, and finishing what others started. These aren't stories of conquest, Ralvatz whispered. They are stories of endurance. The chamber was quiet. Humans don't escalate, he continued. They endure, and endure, and endure, until the moment they decide they're finished enduring. He pointed at the council. And that is when they end the threat. A cold dread settled over the room. Because the council had stopped humans from enduring. They had forced them to act. 3 days later, reports trickled in. A mining ship in Sector Delta 5 picked up a shadow flickering past its hull, too fast to track. A merchant convoy swore they saw a void ripple like space bending itself. A patrol fleet detected a signal spike, followed by nothing. Every report contained the same conclusion. Unidentified contact. Possibly human. But they were too fast. Too silent. Too deliberate. And too many. The council convened again. This could be coincidence. This could be sensor error. This could be panic. But then, the final report came in from a GEB scout frigate. A single, clear transmission. We saw them. The Phantom Fleet. Followed by static. Followed by silence. Followed by the frigate's signal disappearing from all networks. The galaxy shivered. Ambassadors argued. Generals shouted. Governors sent desperate messages. How many ships do humans have? Why were these fleets never reported? How could humans develop technology beyond our sensors? Why didn't anyone monitor them closer? The truth was bitter. Humanity had been underestimated for generations. Dismissed as primitive. Watched through lazy, outdated intelligence networks. And the galaxy was paying for that arrogance now. While the Council panicked, ordinary galactic citizens whispered something else entirely. What if the humans are right? They only attack when provoked. They protect their people. They rebuild worlds we abandoned. Alien populations who once feared humans began to quietly admire them. Then came the first official break. The Asher Dominion withdrew from the Council, claiming the attack on Helix 5 violated the moral fabric of interstellar law. More followed. Small states first, then medium ones. Each defection was a crack in the Council's foundation. The Speaker of the Council slammed his fist on the table. Humanity is turning the galaxy against us. But he was wrong. The Council had turned the galaxy against itself. Humans had simply exposed the rot. And then, everything collapsed. A data leak hit every public network across the Council's 224-member worlds. Thousands of encrypted files. Decades of secret communications. Evidence of manipulation, political engineering, and targeted oppression. But worst of all, proof the Council had authorized the destruction of Helix 5 years in advance. For preemptive containment. For technological suppression. For population control. Billions saw the truth. The Council wasn't protecting the galaxy. The Council was afraid of humans. Afraid of what humanity could become. Afraid they could no longer control them. Riots broke out. Protests ignited. Entire worlds demanded accountability. And through all of it, humanity said nothing. Not a word. Not a signal. Not a threat. The galaxy understood the meaning of that silence now. Humans weren't avoiding conflict. Humans were deciding what came next. In deep space, beyond the Council's eyes, the Phantom Fleet formed a crescent shape, like a blade. Black sun drones swarmed in enormous, silent patterns, enough to blot out a moon. Leviathan carriers drifted forward like titans waking after centuries of sleep. Silent Storm Marines boarded dropships, armed and wordless. Omega-5 platforms charged with a low, threatening hum. Admiral Vance's voice echoed across encrypted channels. Prepare to move. Directive Hydra 5 enters Phase 2. And somewhere on the Council capital world, a terrified advisor whispered the sentence that would define the era. We tried to contain humanity. Now humanity is containing us. The galaxy didn't just fear humans anymore. The galaxy feared what humans were planning. And soon, they would learn. The Galactic Enforcement Bureau operated dozens of military outposts across the Outer Rim. But Base Gamma 5 was different. It was the largest. The most heavily fortified. The one responsible for carrying out the order to destroy Helix 5. No one on Gamma 5 was prepared to become the first target of humanity's silent wrath. Lieutenant Arketh of the GEB leaned back in his command chair, mandibles clicking in boredom. Another routine patrol. Another cycle of monitoring unimportant star lanes. Another shift listening to new recruits complain about the human threat. He snorted. Humans? Threat? They're loud animals with spaceships. The Council will crush their tantrums soon enough. At least, that's what he told himself. But when he glanced at the sensor logs for the third time that hour, one pattern bothered him. A faint ripple. A micro-distortion. something that looked like a shadow moving across empty space. He dismissed it. Probably a cosmic anomaly. Probably sensor drift. Probably nothing. He had no idea it was the last quiet hour Gamma 5 would ever experience. Far beyond Gamma 5 sensors, the Phantom Fleet hovered in absolute silence. No thrusters. No signals. No signatures. Their stealth systems drank in starlight, bending it around sleek hulls of obsidian metal. Admiral Vance stood in the command sphere of the Phantom flagship, Wraith of Earth. A hologram displayed the GEB station, massive, shielded, armed with hundreds of turrets. To most species, attacking it would be impossible. To humans, it was a target of precision. Engines minimal, Vance said. Hold our vector. Black Sun units, move to positions Gamma 3 and Gamma 5. On the tactical map, thousands of microdrones swarmed like a silent storm, positioning themselves around the station's blind spots. Silent Storm Marines, she continued, prepare for orbital descent. Ready, came several calm voices belonging to warriors trained to drop into war zones with no backup and no fear. No one raised their voice. No one hesitated. Humans didn't need speeches. They already knew why they were here. Far beyond Gamma 5 sensors, the Phantom Fleet hovered in absolute silence. No thrusters. No signals. No signatures. Their stealth systems drank in starlight, bending it around sleek hulls of obsidian metal. Admiral Vance stood in the command sphere of the Phantom flagship, Wraith of Earth. A hologram displayed the GEB station, massive, shielded, armed with hundreds of turrets. To most species, attacking it would be impossible. To humans, it was a target of precision. Engines minimal, Vance said. Hold our vector. Black Sun units, move to positions Gamma 3 and Gamma 5. On the tactical map, thousands of microdrones swarmed like a silent storm, positioning themselves around the station's blind spots. Silent Storm Marines, she continued, prepare for orbital descent. Ready, came several calm voices belonging to warriors trained to drop into war zones with no backup and no fear. No one raised their voice. No one hesitated. Humans didn't need speeches. They already knew why they were here. At exactly 0300 station time, Gamma 5 sensors blinked. Just once. A flicker. A glitch. Then every weapon turret on the station suddenly pointed in the wrong direction. Lieutenant Arketh blinked. What in the? Reroute data feeds. Reset targeting. Nothing responded. Screens went dark. Alarms froze. Weapons powered down without command. System override, one tech shouted. From where? I don't know. The signals aren't coming from outside or inside, they're everywhere. Because the Black Sun AI wasn't a hacker. It was a learning predator, designed to slip into enemy systems like a whisper and tear out their electronics from the inside. And Gamma 5 had no defense against it. Arketh slammed the emergency beacon. Send a distress signal to the... He never finished. For the first time in galactic history, humanity revealed its true stealth capabilities. The Phantom Fleet decloaked. 20 ships, silent as ghosts, materialized around the base. No engine glow. No signature. Just presence. The bridge went silent, absolute, paralyzing silence. Those are humans. How did they get so close? Where were the scanners? There was no time to react. Human ships opened fire. But not the way the galaxy knew war. No planet killers. No indiscriminate bombing. No massive barrages. Humans fired precise, surgical railshot bursts, each one striking a single external power node. 6 shots. 6 explosions. Base Gamma 5 went completely dark. Arketh stumbled as emergency lights flickered on. Shields, offline. Weapons, offline. Hyperdrives, offline. And then, thud, thud, thud. Heavy metal impacts echoed along the station's outer hull. Dozens of them. What is that? The answer came too late. Sections of the station tore open as human drop pods punched through the reinforced plating. From the smoke stepped figures clad in matte black armor, silent storm marines. No words. No warning. No mercy for the guilty. They moved through the corridors like shadows with guns. Every GEB soldier who raised a weapon was neutralized instantly. Non-combatants were ignored. Researchers were pushed into safe rooms. Civilians herded into secure hallways. Humans didn't kill indiscriminately. They killed with intent. One by one, the command officers responsible for the Helix 5 attack were located. Arketh watched the security feed with wide, horrified eyes. They're ignoring everyone except the ones who gave the order, his deputy whispered. Arketh swallowed. Because this isn't revenge. No, the deputy said. This is justice. That's all it took. 5 minutes for the station's leadership to be captured or dead. 5 minutes for the Marines to deactivate every weapon on the base. 5 minutes for humanity to send a message to the entire galaxy. We do not seek war. We seek responsibility. We punish only the guilty. When the last resistance was neutralized, Admiral Vance opened a channel. Her face appeared on every screen in the base. Gamma 5, you are no longer under Council control. All civilian personnel are safe. All war criminals are in custody. This operation is complete. She paused. Her eyes were cold. And this is only the beginning. The connection cut. Human ships vanished into hyperspace. Silent. Precise. Unstoppable. Across hundreds of worlds, billions watched the footage leaked by an unknown source, rumored to be the humans themselves. They saw a flawless human strike. No civilian casualties. Criminal officers taken alive. The GEB humiliated. The Phantom Fleet defying all known physics. And the narrative changed instantly. Humans weren't monsters. Humans were angels with swords. Angels who cut down the wicked. Crowds on alien worlds began chanting. Humans bring justice. We stand with Earth. Down with the Council. The Council panicked. This wasn't just military defeat. This was a PR catastrophe. And in the shadows of the Council chambers, someone whispered. Humans didn't crush Gamma 5. They demonstrated what they could do. The galaxy finally understood. Humans were not here to conquer. Humans were here to correct. And this correction had only started. The destruction of Gamma 5 didn't just shake the Galactic Council. It shattered it. In the days following the human strike, the Council chambers, once the most orderly, dignified halls in the galaxy, turned into a battlefield of accusations, panic, and politicized chaos. The footage of humanity's flawless attack spread faster than any virus. Billions watched the same terrifying truth. Humanity was not retaliating wildly. Humanity was retaliating intelligently. And intelligent retaliation was far more dangerous. The Asher Dominion was the first to withdraw from the Council. Their Prime Chancellor spoke to a crowd of millions. We do not stand with tyrants who murder civilians. We stand with those who protect them. We stand with humanity. Other species followed. The gentle Cyrulans. The fierce Varric tribes. Even the usually silent diplomat caste of the Kynor. One by one, they announced. We refuse to be allies to those who commit genocide. Each defection was a seismic strike to the Council's authority. The Speaker of the Council, Cariel Vaughn, slammed his claws against the podium, voice cracking with rage. They are manipulating the galaxy. This is human propaganda. But nobody listened. Because the galaxy had seen the truth with their own eyes. Humans didn't attack civilians. Humans rescued non-combatants. Humans arrested the guilty without harming the innocent. In comparison, the council looked like tyrants. Then came the data leak. Not from rebels. Not from pirates. Not even from human hackers. It came from Earth intelligence itself. Across thousands of worlds, every holoscreen flickered. Every network buzzed. Every citizen, soldier, and scientist saw the same information spill into the public consciousness. Files revealing the Council's 20-year-long plan to restrict human development. Secret meetings calling humanity a future existential risk. Authorizations to sabotage Earth's scientific progress. Administrative memos implying Helix 5's destruction was not an accident, but a calculated experiment to test human response thresholds. Billions were horrified. The Council attempted damage control, calling the documents fabrications. Until more documents were leaked. Signed. Stamped. Authenticated. Proof they were real. Proof the Council had lied. Cheated. Manipulated. And killed. Suddenly, the galaxy wasn't comparing humans to tyrants. The galaxy was comparing the Council to tyrants. And the Council was losing. Protests erupted on dozens of Council member worlds. Crowds of alien citizens shouted, "Justice for Helix 5! Down with the Council! Humanity is right! End the corruption!" Law enforcement struggled. Entire planets revolted. Ships mutinied. Governors resigned. In some regions, crowds openly carried human symbols. Earth's blue and green crest became a symbol of justice. Children wore replica human armor. Merchants sold Phantom Fleet posters like folk heroes. The galaxy was changing. And the Council was powerless to stop it. Emergency sessions were held daily. Counselor after counselor screamed accusations at one another. "You authorized the strike." "No, you concealed the evidence." "You pushed humanity too far." "You said they were weak, you lied." "Your orders triggered all of this." "We'll be hunted because of you." Old alliances turned to ash. Species who had worked together for centuries now threatened war. The Speaker tried to regain control. "We must unite. We must stop humanity before." An elderly counselor cut him off. "Before what? Before they remove the criminals we protected? Before they do what we refuse to do? Before they show the galaxy what justice actually looks like?" The Speaker faltered. Because he knew the Council had no moral high ground left. Not anymore. While the Council collapsed, humanity said nothing. No threats. No warnings. No public statements. And the galaxy realized something chilling. Human silence meant planning. Human planning meant certainty. And human certainty meant action. Admiral Vance's fleets vanished from sensors again. Black Sun drone swarms moved like living math. Omega-5 platforms glowed faintly, armed, charged, watching. Silent Storm Marines prepared for another precision strike. The entire galaxy waited. Because humanity had shown restraint. Which meant the war wasn't a war. It was a correction. A correction with rules. A correction with focus. A correction with consequences. In a quiet corner of the Council capital, a frightened diplomat whispered to her colleague, "Do you think the humans are coming for us next?" Her colleague shook his head slowly. "No. Humans don't come for the innocent. They come for the guilty." The diplomat trembled. "But how will they decide who's guilty?" The colleague's eyes were wide and honest. "They already have." The message from Admiral Vance echoed across every military channel in known space, but the silence afterward was even louder. In the observation towers of Orion Prime. In the mining colonies of the Varick frontier. In the floating cities of the Cerulean Seas. Every species, every soldier, every civilian felt the same thing. This was the moment. The one before history shattered into before and after. And all of it depended on what humanity would say next. It started as a distortion, a ripple, a faint bending of starlight. Then, one by one, they emerged. Human dreadnoughts, silent storm troop carriers, Black Sun drone leviathans, Omega-5 mobile platforms. A formation so massive that the Council's long-range sensors overloaded. A formation so precise that even machine-learning targeting systems froze. And at the center, the flagship HSS Resolute, humanity's crown jewel, lined with black alloy plates etched with the names of the dead of Helix 5. Every galactic commander watching knew one thing. This was not a fleet coming to negotiate. This was a fleet coming to decide. The council chamber was in chaos as admirals, governors, and representatives screamed over each other. They'll annihilate us. We must surrender. No, fight. We still have the advantage in numbers. Numbers? Against them? Did you see Gamma 5? Where's the speaker? Why isn't he here? The speaker finally entered, pale and shaking. The humans have issued a demand, he said softly. Silence. What demand? A counselor asked. The speaker swallowed hard. They wish to meet. Here. On Orion Prime. The chamber fell completely, horrifyingly quiet. A meeting. In the heart of the council. Humanity wasn't afraid to walk directly into enemy territory. Which meant only one thing. They believed the council could do nothing to stop them. When the human delegation arrived, the landing pads were surrounded by layered security. Sniper drones on every balcony. Bioscanners every 10 meters. 40,000 guards in a full perimeter. Anti-orbital cannons primed to fire. And yet, no one felt safer. The human envoy walked forward. Admiral Vance. Commander Talia Winters. 3 Silent Storm Marines. They carried no visible weapons. They didn't need any. The air felt heavy around them. Focused. Controlled. Every eye watched them enter the council chamber. Every heartbeat felt like a countdown. Admiral Vance stood before the 224 council representatives. He didn't raise his voice. He didn't posture. He didn't threaten. He simply spoke. You attacked Helix 5. You killed our civilians. You lied to the galaxy. He turned slowly, looking each counselor directly in the eyes. Your attempt to control us ends today. The speaker trembled. What do you want? Vance placed a single device on the table, a small, smooth cube. This contains the names, he said. The chamber froze. What names? A counselor whispered. Those responsible, Vance replied. The ones who planned the strike. The ones who authorized it. The ones who concealed it. He stepped back. You have 48 hours to surrender every name on that list. Alive. The speaker's voice cracked. And if we refuse? Vance's expression didn't change. We do not wipe out species. We do not conquer worlds. We are not tyrants. He leaned forward slightly. But we will remove every individual responsible. And no fleet, no government, no council will stop us. Silence. Cold. Absolute. Unbreakable. Commander Winters stepped beside him. This is not vengeance, she said. This is justice. As the human envoys turned to leave, Admiral Vance stopped at the chamber doorway. He didn't look back. He simply said, if you attempt to hide them, if you attempt to lie, if you attempt to flee. He glanced upward, toward the sky where the Phantom Fleet waited. Then our next visit will not be diplomatic. News of the ultimatum detonated through the galaxy. On frontier worlds, crowds cheered humanity's courage. On council worlds, officials panicked. On neutral planets, citizens whispered. They're giving us a chance. They're giving them a chance. They're not monsters. They're disciplined. Species who once feared humans now respected them more than ever. And species who once despised the Council now despised them even more. For the first time in history, the galaxy's moral alignment shifted not toward power, but toward principle. And humanity was leading that shift. On the HSS Resolute, a holographic timer appeared. 47 hours 59 minutes and 59 seconds. Nearby, Silent Storm Marines prepared. Black Sun drones synchronized. The Phantom Fleet held position, silent, waiting. Ready. Humanity's message was simple. Justice is coming. You cannot run from it. You cannot hide from it. You had your chance. Now we take ours. The galaxy watched the clock. Every second. Every blink. Every breath. Because in 48 hours, everything would change. And humanity, the calm, focused, unstoppable, was about to redefine galactic law.